This is the video for lesson 18 on my website, Assorted Basic Word Problems. Word problems are very tricky for most students, and the only way to get better at them is to do as many as you can, as many different types of word problems as you can, and really just think about what you're doing, and the more you do them, the easier they'll become. What I have here are some word problems that are a little bit tricky, and the reason why is they don't include the usual keywords that you would expect to see in a word problem. So you have to read each problem really carefully and really think about what mathematical operation is needed. Let's take a look. Problem 1 says a class has 27 students. 14 students move to another class. How many students are now in the class? Well, one of the things that I would do is immediately underline the numbers that are involved, because that'll help. So we're doing something with 27 and we're doing something with 14. It may help to just write out those numbers to the side. Now we have to figure out what operation we're doing. I don't see anything that specifically says we have to add or subtract or anything like that. What I see is this word move here. Now, basically, if students are moving from one class to another, the implication is that they've left the class. They're gone, and that implies subtraction. So that's tricky. We just have to realize that subtraction is involved here. And we'll start with the larger number, 27, and then we'll subtract the 14 students that moved to another class, and that shows us that 13 students remain. Let's take a look at problem 2. A store had 24 brownies. The brownies were sold to 8 customers, and each customer bought the same amount. I'm going to immediately underline same amount because that sounds like it's going to be important. It's an equal distribution. How many brownies did each customer buy? Each is important. Well, from experience, I know that what's involved here is division. We're going to start with 24, and we're dividing up those brownies equally among 8 customers. Now, it's good if you know how to do this just off the top of your head. If not, what you can do is you can think of it in reverse. Think in terms of multiplication. 8 times what number equals 24? So how many brownies did each customer get? And you can use a multiplication table or just basic multiplication to see that 8 times 3 gives you 24. That means that when we divide the 24 brownies equally among 8 people, each person gets 3 brownies apiece. Let's take a look at problem number 3. Jane has 5 rows of dimes, and each row has 8 dimes in it. How many dimes does she have in total? Now, many students would see the word total and immediately think, oh, I have to add. I just have to add 8 plus 5. That's actually wrong. We have to really look at what's going on here. It may help to draw a diagram. Picture 5 rows, and each row has 8 dimes in it. What you really have is a multiplication problem. You have 5 multiplied by 8. Or another way to think of it is that you have 5 repeated 8 times. And remember, multiplication is just repeated addition. So we really just have 5 times 8. And it's good if you just know it off the top of your head, but if not, you can use a multiplication table, and we get 40. Okay. Let's look at the last problem. Steve has 35 marbles. He finds 27 more. I'm going to underline finds. That sounds like it's important because something's happening. How many marbles does he have now? Well, nothing in the problem tells me exactly what I'm supposed to do, but I know from experience that if you have a certain amount of things and you find more of them, what you're really doing is adding. And what we'll just write is 35 plus 27, and that gives us 62. Of course, I would add the 7 plus the 5 and then carry the 1, and I get 62. So these problems were a bit tricky. With word problems, my advice is read them very slowly, read them very carefully, underline words that seem important, and really just do a lot of thinking and think about what mathematical operations are involved. The more word problems you do, the easier they'll become. You'll have much more practice with this in later lessons.